Hello, welcome back to Uncovering Connecticut with your host, Sid Cleveland.
And Leena, Qureshi.
And thank you for joining us for our one and only episode, our pilot episode of Uncovering Connecticut, there's an Anchisaurus under there?
So under where, you ask? Did I hear that?
Yeah, tell us where, Leena.
There was a quarry where, you know Manchester?
I do know Manchester. I go there to shop all the time.
You know Buckland Hills in Manchester?
Do.
Yeah. There's a Lowe's and a Target there, and like right under there a long time ago was where he was found.
Wow.
There was a quarry there, a quarry that built Connecticut, that built New York, that built Boston. Like all the stones were used and like shipped out to all these places. And that's where he was found. The workmen stumbled across him, and they cut up the stones, however.
They blew him up, right?
Yeah. Shipped him off, and that's when Charles Marsh could come on the scene and be like, hey, that was a dinosaur.
Hey, there's an Anchisaurus under there.
Yeah. Exactly. And then they had to like trace where he could have gone. Turns out he was built into a bridge by this time. By the time we caught up with him, he was built into a bridge. The bridge is also in Connecticut. To break the bridge down now. So he had to wait a long time for the bridge to run its course and then be destroyed.
Run its course? Like when the bridge stopped being a bridge?
Yeah. When the bridge was unusable and they had to break it down, that's when Charles could come back and...
Damn, landing laws, huh?
That's when he could come back and rescue the dinosaur. And a little bit more about the quarry. This is what it looked like back then. You know, this is all brownstone, and brownstone specifically in this area is from the Triassic, Jurassic era, and it's literally the brownstone. As you'll see, well, actually, I'll just give you a glimpse. This is what was recovered, and...
So that's the Anchisaurus, right?
Yes. And also a very brown stone.
And a very brown stone.
Yeah. This was the bridge, the Hop Brook at Bridge Street, now demolished. And that's what it looked like.
Wow. So let me get this straight. It's under where Lowe's is currently, but it wasn't demolished building Lowe's. It was demolished, or the Anchisaurus was blown up in building a bridge, not Lowe's.
No.
Yes.
So Lowe's is where the quarry was.
Yeah.
So, this is the Hartford Basin. It runs through Connecticut. God damn it. It runs through Connecticut. And what was your question?
I think that answered it.
Okay.
Well, do I have a story for you? In case you didn't know, after Marsh had found these skeletons, there was quite a debate about what these skeletons should be called.
Wasn't he like first identified as a human?
He was first identified as a human. Because he was so small, and being a part of the Sauropodomorpha, which is the taxon that the Anchisaurus is a part of, you wouldn't expect him to be so small. And also, he was not found in dinosaur shaped.
That's true. They were not dinosaur shaped parts necessarily. He's 6 points. He's around 6.6 feet long.
He's
so like
kind of the size of a human.
27 kilograms.
Yeah.
How many pounds was that?
That's about
60?
60, 70 pounds.
Uh-huh.
So a very tall and thin, lanky human.
Well, actually, he wasn't tall. He was long. So that was his length. He was 6.6 long.
But he was sometimes bipedal.
That's...
We're already getting into it. We're getting way
yeah.
ahead of ourselves. So
Okay.
this debate. So Marsh first found these skeletons, thought they were humans, because they were so small, but then he found minor differences in the three of them. I don't know how he did that, to be honest. But
it's a science.
Yeah, it's a mystery. But the first was Anchisaurus major, the second Anchisaurus coloris, and the third Anchisaurus solus. However, upon further examination, he renamed the first one Amosaurus, the second Teleosaurus, and the third Amosaurus. So after, this was 10 years after 1885 when he first discovered them. It ended up not being Anchisaurus for a while. He had changed his name.
Yeah, also Yale tried to come in and tried to call him Yaleosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Did not land.
No, they don't like that name. Did not land. Anyway, almost 100 years later, paleontologists returned to this genera, and including the Anchisaurus taxa from Springfield, he included all four of these skeletons, Lull did, and found four distinctions, but upheld the divide between Anchisaurus polyzelus, Amosaurus major, Yaleosaurus coloris, and Anchisaurus solus. So back again, we are at the Anchisaurus taxa. 20 years later from that, Galton reduced the number of taxa to 2. So instead of going from 4 to 3, Galton now has 2. Anchisaurus polyzelus and Amosaurus major. And then finally in 2004, Yates, this is the most widely recognized hypothesis, that the 3 specimens from Manchester share significant autapomorphies that were conspecific, and that Yates also says that the criteria that was used to separate the 2 taxa, that Galton used to separate the 2 taxa, were likely a result of post-depositional damage, though he did not correctly hypothesize that those autapomorphies were significant enough. So he reaffirms Marsh's original, his first status of Anchisaurus polyzelus, or first diagnosis, as the correct name for the Manchester sauropodomorphs. And also asserts that it should be maintained as the diagnostic taxon, or the Anchsor taxon of the clade of all Anchisauridae. Which is super important in labeling all sauropods, because that's a huge clade where they come from, or where all long-necked dinosaurs come from. So super cool that they started in Connecticut.
Yeah. Quite the identity crisis, personal journey this dinosaur's had.
It really had, yeah. Speaking of identity crisis, I know I get one looking in the mirror, so why don't you tell me about what Anchisaurus looked like?
Oh, I was wondering where this was going.
You like that segue?
That was made me a little nervous. Well, I would first like to tell you about where he was. Oh, well, actually, no, I should tell you what he looked like. He was not the biggest guy, He's supposed to be... Can you name some, bigger, well-known dinosaurs that he might have turned into?
Diplodocus.
Mm-hmm.
Brontosaurus.
Yeah. So, all
Big
those
guys.
gigantic guys, one of the biggest guys I've ever seen. This man was just small. He was, I'll show you for scale.
From tip to tail, about 2 meters tall,
Mm-hmm.
or long, and weighed around 27 kilograms, or 60 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as we said, sometimes biped,
Yep.
which is so funny to me. Just having a human-sized lizard wobbling around on 2 feet sometimes.
Yep. So about it being biped, there's a lot of debate. People have decided that there are times where he'd do that, There are times he may prop himself on a stone or something and just like be on two legs, or when he's being chased by a hunter, which is, you know,
wait, he ran on two legs when he was chased by a hunter?
It's a funnier thought that like when he sees danger, he just like meerkats up. And
the fact that was his like faster form.
These are all theories.
Theories, of course.
Yeah. There's not a lot of solid information on dinosaurs in general sometimes.
I wonder why.
They've been dead a long time. A long time.
Really?
But, okay, so a little bit about what he looked like. You already know he was about as long as a tall guy. He wasn't really heavy. Sometimes bipedal. He had leaf-shaped teeth to just grind on the kind of plants that were around it.
Well, not really grind on.
Well, yes, actually. Sorry. My
Correction.
bad. Not grind
actually.
on. Just tear it off because leaf-like teeth can't grind.
Instead of grinding, he, like a lot of other sauropods, would swallow small stones and use, what is it called?
Gas something? Gaso?
Yes, gastroliths. Gastroliths.
Okay. Yeah.
To digest them in his own tummy.
Yeah, so you just swallow a bunch of rocks and apparently they just mishmash things in your tummy, which is what some cows do too, I've heard. But yeah, especially sauropods. What were we talking about?
What he looked like.
He also, well, before that, he might be an omnivore, from what we know. He might have predated on some smaller animals.
Yeah, it's, obviously he did eat plants because he's a sauropod, and was his, tooth shape, but there's also a lot of evidence that he could have, like, been, like, a scavenger for insects.
Yeah.
Other small animals.
What was your...
Kind of like me in high school.
So what did he look like? Were we still on that?
Yes, I think so.
He was abnormally slender, had an abnormally long tail, abnormally long and thin neck, which this is still a painting in progress, so I'm going to make those corrections. And he would prop himself up to eat on plants sometimes. I'll give you some more visuals on what he may have looked like, where he may have lived.
The whole taxa of Anchisauridae that that is named after the Anchisaurus is classified by like three or like a three-toed slender foot, while like Amosaurs tend to have like broader feet. That's like the main distinction between them. Anchisaurus also had like motion on all four limbs, as we said. They were like both quadru and bipedal. And let's see. Oh, compressed terminal digits that may have been covered in sharp claws. So that's kind of cool. He had some nails. Likely used for prehension and not locomotion, which I found interesting.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the evidence that might suggest that he wasn't just a herbivore, because he had these developed sharp claws that could like dig in the ground and things.
You're so smart.
So are you.
Yeah, he would also use his little digits to bring a branch closer, etc. There wasn't a lot of movement, but he could probably just do this, but fun for him.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's part of what you were saying earlier about why they hypothesized that when he would need to run fast, he would do it on 2 feet. Because those claw-like hands are probably not great for running.
That's a good point.
Paleontologists may have assumed. I don't know. And the tail. The tail is very significant about him, too. The tail was really, like, thin and flexible, which was a little bit unique for sauropoda. And the tail also might have not dragged on the ground. Like the structure of his spine might have held it up.
All right.
I'm all out of segues. I used my one segue. Now I don't have another
It was
one.
too good.
It was too good.
Well,
Um,
I'd like to tell you about the environment if you're interested.
would you? I'm so interested.
So if you know about like a moon, I want to make a mood for you. As you can see, even in this, like I haven't done much detail work yet, but I've created a mood. And it's supposed to be a little monsoony.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be a little, when it's, it was either really dry or really monsoony. And in the summer and spring, etc., you'd have a lot of foliage and you'd get a lot of rain, etc. But in the winter months, it would get dry and the lakes would dry up. There would just be, it's called playa. It's when the lake bed dries up and you can see like little hexagonal figures on it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you're talking
Yeah. So it will be living around those areas because that's what we found it near. We found it near the Hartford Basin.
That's a huge climate change that it would go through every year. Did it migrate or did it stay in one area? Do you know?
We don't have a lot of information, but I wouldn't think he migrated. I think he'd be fine. I think that, he probably was definitely there when the playa was there because that's what some of the fossil footprints are from. I think it's a good environment for fossils to be formed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mud really holds it.
Yeah.
For that.
That's right. Where was Connecticut in Pangea?
It was kind of in the center of everything. But I think it was like more in the center on the right. Which brings me to, we already had should I pause?
No, you're good. Keep talking.
So when this guy was moving around, we already had the Appalachian Trail, which I think is extremely cool. It was formed during the Ordovician.
We should say, actually, we should make this note. We don't know how to pronounce any of these names. You might have noticed we pronounced Anchisaurus 3 different ways already.
And it's not the 3 different ways it was.
No, and and all of them are wrong.
Yeah.
We've heard Anchisaurus, Anchisaurus, or Anchisaurus. I don't know. You decide.
We gave you the spellings, okay? You do the work.
Yeah.
How about that?
But yeah, ornithopods.
No.
Is that
I'm
what you're
talking about the Ordovician.
Ordovician period. I
period?
think it's a period. I want to say. Don't quote me on that.
We're also not. We've taken one dinosaur class between the two of us. We just love it.
This is just us. This podcast is just us talking about dinosaurs the way we normally would on a microphone.
Yeah. So we're not, the references aren't all there, but we'll have a script, we'll have references in that. But not here. Not up here.
And we'll put references in the description.
Mm-hmm. So the Appalachian Trail was actually formed a long time ago. It might have formed when he was alive, during his time period, because it was formed when the African plate collided into the North American and Eurasian plate. Yeah. So Africa came and went, boop,
Wow.
and that formed a mountain range.
Wow.
Yeah. And as you may have known,
I visited the Appalachian Mountains.
yeah,
I
it
never knew that.
It goes pretty extensively, and that's right where it was hit with Africa. But yeah, so these mountains would have been forming / be formed when he was around. And apart from that, there were no flowering plants at that time.
Wow.
That's why you can't see any spots of color. I know, it's a little sad. As an artist, it's a little sad.
If you know our girl, she loves color.
This girl loves color.
So, a lot of restraint. I applaud that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, though. There was no flowering
Yeah.
at all during the Triassic, or just in Connecticut?
Not at all during the Triassic.
Wow.
I think it developed during the Jurassic. I may be completely off. I know this
There's too
information.
many facts to expect to fact check about dinosaurs.
I did. That's also the thing. Like, I have this in my brain somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but do I have it trustworthily enough? No. So I will not subject you to that.
Well, we should put it like a disclaimer at the beginning. Take all of this with a grain of salt. We are not experts. We are just dino enthusiasts.
Found a dinosaur under what?
There's Anchisaurus underwear?
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to show you a little bit of what the environment may have looked like. Some of these pictures are labeled Triassic, late Triassic, which is the environment would be roughly similar. So this is a picture I like, some mountains, a lot of like lake, clay, a lot of stick-looking plants, a lot of spiky plants. This is not Anchisaurus. Yeah, so this is actually supposed to be Anchisaurus, and as you can see, a lake, more clay, more spiky plants. Do you want to hear about some of the dinosaurs that may have been around?
That is a good point. We haven't even talked about that at all. What were his friends like?
They were not his friends,
or maybe
necessarily. Yeah. I know these are some common dinosaur names, but I am bad with pronunciation. But Dilophosaurus should be around. He was this guy. If you've ever been to the Dinosaur State Park, this is what the tracks are of, I think. He's also depicted in the mural. But yeah, so this is a significantly larger guy.
I like his head.
Yeah, he's got a cool head.
Mm-hmm.
I just found some fun pictures to give you an idea. Yeah, this is small state with big footprints. That's Dilophosaurus.
So all of these dinosaurs would be going through the same like weather change and extinction events that Anchisaurus would be going through. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer for this, but I wonder what like examples of convergent evolution might have evolved in these.
I was just gonna point out this dinosaur that looks kind of similar. I don't think he's related to our Anchisaurs.
Convergent evolution.
I don't know if this particular case is convergent.
Hey, the great thing about dinosaurs is nothing is fact.
Yeah, they could be bright pink for all we know. But the Hodocosaurus, he was also a smaller guy who could walk bipedally sometimes, maybe run, about the size of a cat. There was
That's
also
so small.
There was also Amosaurus.
Right, Amosaurus is the other one.
Yeah, who looked so similar that they thought they were the same.
Right, but he has the hobbit feet.
Hobbit feet.
Amosaurus has the hobbit feet. While Anchisaurus have elf feet.
Okay, yeah. We're very professional here.
Can you tell we're nerds?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Those are, again, when you find fossils, they're extremely few and far between.
Yeah.
Like I think we, up until probably recently, and who knows, with any of this, like who knows, didn't even have a dinosaur fossil within like thousands of years of the extinction event.
Wow.
Yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
a lot.
That's significant.
Yeah.
I, up until like taking a dinosaur class, didn't know how like destroyed, I guess, fossils are found. Like in the state that fossils are found in. I don't know. Growing up, I always thought you found just like a half or like partial or even full skeleton just in the dirt. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
They put those things together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize just how bad these could be until I saw that Anchisaurus, until I got to go and see Anchisaurus just looking
that
so
was a really
broken.
cool
That was
opportunity
an
for you,
incredible experience. I met getting back into dinosaur, I've met so many lovely people, had so many lovely experiences. I like to think that I have some radiation from an Apatosaurus thigh bone in me still, and forever will have that as a part of me. It's great. But this is the spine, and then this is the foot. Up here is supposed to be the foot. So yeah, he's pretty broken.
Yeah, and that was because of like the way it deposited and the rock moving and everything, right?
Yeah. So it's not easy finding bones.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried.
What type of stone was brownstone?
It was a sedimentary rock.
Gotcha.
I'm guessing it has a lot of iron in it.
Mm-hmm.
200 million years old sandstone deposited into a rift valley on the eastern margin of North America. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, actually, I want to read the story out of the discovery, if that's fine. I know we already addressed it, but in 1884, workers at the Walcott Quarry in Manchester discovered fossils in several different blocks of brownstone and built it into a bridge before it could be saved. They were used in Bigelow Brook in South Manchester. They remained there until the bridge was replaced, and Yale professor John Ostrom acquired the blocks and found the long-lost fossils. The quarry was owned by Charles O. Walcott and put stone out of Portland Formation, which is what went into Boston, New York. That's where the two other dinosaurs are formed and found. And Ostrom then spent 2 years surveying more than 60 bridges in the region because he suspected there were more bones in the other bridges. And finally concluded that the notorious block had gone to the bridge over Hopbrook.
Wait, so he didn't find any other skeletons in other bridges?
Well, you can't just break the bridges down.
That's a very good point.
So he... and with he tried to... I would guess he tried to piece together, oh, you shipped this from here to here, where could it have gone now, you know? I think that's the way he could have done it. They examined some 400 sandstone blocks over a 2-day period and found the fossils. And when I say fossils, it's our Anchisaurus plus the other two.
Yes.
Yeah. Local elementary school teacher Richard Sanders found the first bone, which was a rib, and a lab tech, Rebecca Smith, noticed a larger bone, a femur.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, guys, have a journey.
Yeah. The debate about the Anchisaurus and the Amosaurus was also something that really interested me because looking at all of the differences of autapomorphies and discovering those through fossils is so impressive to be able to do. Just being given a 300 million year old hip bone and then being like, oh, this is a whole new dinosaur because it's slightly different than this other hip bone. And then everybody knows your name because of it.
I can't even, I have a very slight sprinkle of information on the kind of stuff that happens in this. Obviously, it's, the structures of the bone itself. But then there's also, when your muscles connected to the bone, it makes a scar.
Yeah.
And you also analyze those scars to also see how it may have moved, etc. But those are the kind of things that give you information on what dinosaur this is.
Yeah, that is so cool.
There's not a lot of, there's still not a lot of technology on helping us identify this stuff.
It's mostly,
expertise.
Human expertise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the few fields that still rely on human expertise, honestly.
Yeah.
But what I was saying about, the different autapomorphies, in, discovering all those different autapomorphies, paleontologists also come up with, new taxa and new clades and everything, to, categorize all of the dinosaurs because we have, over hundreds different categorizations now. That we found, which is also super cool. That we this being such a niche topic, or whatever. There's so many dinosaurs.
This triggered 2 separate fun facts in me.
Mm-hmm.
One,
We share.
one, we are closest to the last dinosaur. Then the last dinosaur is to the first dinosaur.
And people still don't believe in dinosaurs.
I've known some.
I do too.
It's a little scary.
I have close friends that don't believe in dinosaurs. And I really don't understand.
I thought I knew your friends. I feel like you've
I'll
created
tell you who
this
it is later. I'm not
separation.
going to put it on blast.
I feel like you've created this separation between me and whatever friend on purpose. Okay, so that was one of my facts.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other?
Oh,
yes.
you got it.
Yeah. Identifying dinosaurs is really hard. And something that makes it harder is, you know how puppies have big paws that they grow into? They have big paws for like balance, and then they grow into them finally. Some dinosaur juveniles had big paws, even though they were the same brand. They were the same species. Yeah, they just had to grow into that, and that confused a lot of people for a very long time.
Dead dinosaur babies are confusing. They died.
It makes me so sad that they're not here with us right now.
You would love it. You would love to live in Jurassic World.
That is, you know how people ask you, hey, what superpower do you want? I want to go back in time and just see it all.
Just to visit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have one final topic that we should talk about, which is where did the Anchisaurus come from and what did it turn into?
Where did it go?
Where did it come from?
Come
Anchisaurus. Anchisaurus were like that.
Hit it.
Okay. So yeah, as we've said, Anki is part of the Sauropodomorpha, which is characterized by like long neck dinosaurs. They were quadrupedal, dominantly terrestrial herbivores. Lived in the Mesozoic era, and the Anchisaurus specifically lived in the late Triassic, but Sauropoda all throughout the Mesozoic.
Late Triassic to early Jurassic?
Yeah, late
Right?
to early Jurassic. Yeah, they didn't go extinct at that extinction event. And what the Anchisaurus actually are a part of are a subclass of Sauropoda that preceded the sauropods, which are called the Prosauropods.
Mm-hmm.
And they were smaller and able to walk on 2 legs, which is actually like part of the unique things about the Anchisauri. And the discovery of the Anchisauri also aided in the discovery of like the concept of prosauropods, which is so cool. Like this is one of like the defining taxa dinosaurs.
Yeah. I keep forgetting about that information, and then you say it, and then it's a little explosion in my mind again. It's great.
I love this. I've loved this. Let's never leave.
Let's
keep talking
do
about
more.
dinosaurs forever.
I saw like you can sign up to just start a podcast.
This is gonna become an actual dinosaur podcast.
Unless you hate it. Well, actually, even if you hate it, we had a great time.
We had a great time. Okay, I gotta finish this. Prosauropods are found on most continents and considered some of the world's oldest dinosaur bones. So Anchisaurus is one of the oldest dinosaurs. So
Dude,
sick.
and it's right here.
And he's right here.
He's in Connecticut. I think they're gonna, I had the amazing experience of going behind the scenes at Yale Peabody. I met a great guy, Daniel Brinkman, who's done a lot of great research and just amazing work. And he is currently setting up the Yale Peabody's newer exhibits. And he took me behind the scenes, and I think he mentioned that we're gonna put up the Anchisaurus for a viewing. And
nice.
Dude, I've touched something that's behind a museum glass. That's gonna be behind a museum glass. Are you kidding me? And it's dino bones.
We definitely need to include one of the pictures of you in the fossil room.
Oh my god, it's really embarrassing.
It's so cute. It's
I was
the
just
happiest I've ever seen her.
I was just scrolling, and Sid was behind me, laughing. I was just
I loved it.
remembering.
Okay, so to conclude my little where does it come from, where does it go, Anchisauridae, I'm going to summarize a paragraph that I found from one of those academic journals about dinosaurs, which is another cool thing I discovered, is all of these academic research papers on dinosaurs. So today, most scientists support the idea that prosauropods form a paraphyletic group who share a common ancestor with some of its descendants, because characteristics such as larger size, herbivority, and quadrupedality continue into the sauropoda. There is evidence, however, that prosauropods are independent of the lineage leading to the more derived sauropoda. So that is contradicting what I just said earlier, but I want to give all hypotheses, which would make prosauropods monophyletic, a common ancestor with all of its descendants. Which completely changed the classification depending on which theory you go with. Scientists also believe that melanosaurids are the transitional group between prosauropods and sauropods. So if you were on like a phylogeny, you'd see the connection between those two. However, there are differences, such as a reduced fifth metacarsal found on all prosauropods that are not in sauropods, as an example, between the two groups that cause scientists to separate them, and also question whether or not they share a common ancestor or not. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think it's paraphyletic or monophyletic?
I don't think I can say. That's the thing about dinosaurs. We just don't know. A realm of opportunity.
That has been the Anchisaurus.
What's under there? What dinosaur's under there?
Is it a sauropod? Is it a prosauropod? Don't know, but it's an Anchisaurus. I am so sad that we have to end this
I
now.
don't like.
I really don't want to.
I think I'm like visibly sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys.
We'll see you next time when we talk
I
about
guess.
Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus. We did name this specifically Connecticut based.
Yeah.
So
Also,
we can change it to Uncovering New England. New England dinosaurs.
No, but Dilophosaurus was in Connecticut. We can start with Connecticut and then go to all 50 states.
Hell yeah.
That's.
I'm getting way too excited about
50
this.
more.
Yep. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been Uncovering Connecticut with Sid and Leena. Catch you next time. Stop. Okay. No,
That
it didn't
stop.
stop. I know. I think it disconnected.
Probably.